Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. In other words, this Satoko was the real Satoko. Satoko had been able to see her brother again, and had finally gone back to normal. Now that I had been playing the role of her brother, I had discovered that she really could smile so sweetly, but I wasn't Satoshi Haujo. I was Keiichi Mabura, a totally different person. I couldn't become her brother. I could come close, but I could never really get there. That was vaguely somehow a little sad. I was wearing Satoshi's mantle, and that would have to come off one day, and that would doubtlessly put an end to this meager, nostalgic, peaceful time of Satoko's. A limited tranquility. A tranquility that would end one day. Putting it in those terms, it really was sad. I shook my head firmly and drove off those pointless thoughts. What's the matter, Keiichi-san? Sorry, it's nothing. If it's nothing, then please don't act all strange like that. It makes me worry that you might have eaten something rotten. Right. Sorry, Satoko. Nagging like always, but she still seemed really happy. The mood of hers drew me in, putting a smile on my own face. Hey, Keiichi Mabura, why don't we quit thinking about this having to end one day? If it will, then just think about it when that happens. There was one thing, however, that I could say for sure. As long as I smiled like this, Satoko's own smile would never wane. So as long as I stay this way, this tranquility would never end. Satoshi would come back one day too. That might happen a lot further away than I'd like, but until that day, what's wrong with me being a replacement for him, saying that I'm not her real brother, so I can't become Satoshi? That was just an excuse. If I just didn't run away, Satoko would stay happy and live a fun life full of annoyed nitpicking. I don't know what happened to Satoshi, or what made him abandon Satoko and run away, but just seeing Satoko in such a good mood made me think that I could persevere as long as I needed to. So this is what I thought. I wouldn't become Satoshi. I would become a replacement brother. This is it. This is the kind of stir-fry I was waiting for. It's great. It's absolutely great. The salt and pepper and the broth, man. I could eat an entire pot of this. Stop that, Keiichi-san. You're spilling food everywhere. The food isn't going to run away. You don't need to eat it that fast. No, it will run away. The best and freshest flavors are running away from the moment the meal is completed. If you were to make 100 delicious things, then I would have a duty to taste every one of them. It's just good manners to do so. Your feelings are more than enough. So calm down and enjoy your food. Haha, you're right, I'm sorry. No insults here. I meekly scratched my head, then put down my chopsticks and laughed along with her. Like it was funny. I ended up doing most of the eating. Satoko was barely taking a bite. She seemed satisfied just by watching me enjoy the food so much. Whenever I filled my mouth with more of her delicious meal, Satoko looked glad, then let me enjoy the food even more. In this way, she kept smiling happily the whole time. Looking at her made me really happy as well. The time passed softly and gently. Before, I would have gone back and forth hurling insults at Satoko. In other words, we would have gotten into a fight right away. I'd never known I could feel such peace of mind by talking to her honestly like this. I was a little bit happy about having discovered this new side of Satoko. For example, I was eating food that Satoko had made. There wasn't an inch of me that thought it was suspicious. Before, however, Satoko would have definitely put some sort of trap into this. I think I ate too much. I'm gonna take a dump. Hey, Keiichi-san. It's bad manners to say such words during a meal. Then what should I say? I'm going to the bathroom? The toilet? The the lavatory? Satoko looked down, her face bright red, and pointed down the hallway as if to say, "Just go already." Whoops, my old habits seem to have come back. But yeah, this wasn't all that bad either. No weird schemes. Everything is just natural. And while having such utterly unguarded thoughts, I went into the bathroom. Tug. My foot caught on something string-like. Huh? Whoa. Bang, curse slam. Rattle, rattle. A kettle. Wash tubs. Satoko! She got me, I can't believe her. She always does this when I let my guard down. I can't relax for a minute around her still. It was kind of funny, I didn't really feel like getting angry. Satoko, laughing uproariously, came over. See? I knew you would fall for it sooner or later. Why, you little... Let my guard down for 1 second. This is what I get. I picked up all the wash tubs that had hit me in the head and went to go hit Satoko with them. But then I doubled over with laughter that was welling within me, so I couldn't manage it. I wish things could go on like this forever. It's not like I was having the most fun since coming to Hinazawa or anything, but it was probably the first time that I'd spent my day so simply and comfortably. It really wasn't worth much. It was only a few hours after all. As an only child, it was my first taste of having a sibling. Just washing dishes with her felt really nice. Side by side, we washed with the experienced Satoko, doing most of the work as I threw in appropriate words to add to the conversation. The scene was so commonplace and yet so mild and warm. Maybe I had felt this kind of warmth before too, in the past. I think I've stood next to the sink with my mother like this when I was little. It made me feel nostalgic when I remembered it. It was the same sort of flow. Easy time. It was tranquil. Such a quiet tranquility that the fact I wasn't uneasy about anything itself almost made me uneasy. Hey, wait, Keiichi-Mamura, you feel uneasy about something? Just from spending time so leisurely? There's nothing at all to feel uneasy about. I mean, why would I be punished for enjoying a gentle life? I'd do anything to keep these days going, and I would never do anything bad, no matter what. I'd work hard for it and endure much for it. So God, it's not much of a dream to want this kind of thing to keep on going, but can't you grant it? Oh? Is that not the telephone? Who could it be at this hour? Oh, you're right. I hadn't noticed until she mentioned it. I hurried to stand up, then ran to the phone. Who could it be at a time like this? I did feel a little like the phone had interrupted my happy moment, but I still wanted to brag about how happy the time I was spending made me, no matter who it was on the other side. Hello? This is Mabara speaking. Hello? Keiichi? It's your mother. Oh, hello, Mom. What is it? It's pretty late. That was a little cold of me, when she was only calling because she was worried about her son. I couldn't help but give myself a dry smile. It sounds like you're doing just fine for yourself. I was worried that you couldn't make dinner and went to bed hungry. Nah, it worked out. Did you make dinner properly? What did you have tonight? Haha, it was vegetable stir-fry rice and miso soup. Bought stuff for it at the supermarket plus a whole bunch of side dishes just for fun. Oh yeah, listen to this. I got the pork during sale and got it half off. Haha. The thing's a half-wise knows, right? And also, all of that was thanks to Satoko, and not something I should be proud about. But still, I couldn't help but want to boast about the dinner tonight. It seemed like Mom got the hint that I was in a really good mood. I see. I'm so relieved that you're doing just fine. Oh yes, another thing. Your dad and I finished up with our job. We think we'll be back tomorrow afternoon or evening. Oh, I see. You did well for 2 nights. We've been pulling all-nighters too. It was a lot of work, but we managed to fill the gap in your dad's mentor's event. Cool. That's good. Well done. Why did my parents coming home seem so disappointing? I knew a little bit of reason. Of course, this tranquility I never wanted to end was about to end so readily, and it was a little painful. Well, I mean, who says we can't invite our friends like Satoko, Rika, or Rena, or Mion over here any day of the week? I'm sure parents wouldn't mind. After being asked what kind of souvenir I wanted from Tokyo and replying that anything edible would be great, I put down the receiver and Satoko appeared, having finished cleaning up her trap. At first, Satoko was in a very good mood, but when she saw me put down the receiver with an uncertain expression, her own clouded over a bit. It seemed like she'd gotten the gist of what my phone conversation had been about. Was that your parents, Keiichi-san? Yeah, Mom says we'll be back tomorrow. Oh, that's good then. I mean, you can still come over to visit sometimes. Heck, I don't know why I don't have the rest of my friends come over. I won't have to go to the trouble of making you dinner tomorrow. Now you can enjoy your meals with just your family. No, that's not it. When I think about the dull, plain dinner table coming back tomorrow, it's a little lonely. You sure do live in luxury. A family sitting around the dinner table is the most fun way to enjoy a meal while her brother Satoshi running away from home came to mind immediately, but there was no gloom in the way she said it. It was only for 2 days, but they were very enjoyable dinners. Well then, next time I'll go to your house to visit. Huh? Satoko momentarily made a happy smile, but then a second later changed to an expression of surprise. My house is small and it's dirty. I'm not judging you. And the kitchen isn't as good as this one. Well, I don't mind. But, well, if you don't want to, then I won't. Satoko shook her head firmly, her whole body expressing denial. I gotta get you to teach me a whole bunch more stuff, too. I finally managed to figure out how to use the rice cooker, and how to cook miso soup, after all. That's right, isn't it? Perhaps we should use this opportunity to have you learn more about cooking. It was so like Satoko to take this chance to proclaim that it was all for my sake. But there was no way to conceal her own enthusiasm. It was true that this gentle time would come to an end when my parents got back. There was no need to lament that, though. I can easily put in effort to continue our mild moments like this. Like yesterday, Satoko told me she didn't need to be escorted home. But Rika-chan wasn't with her tonight. She would be going home by herself. Everyone knew everyone else's face here in Nanazawa, so it wasn't like it was dangerous to go out at night, but it still wasn't good to send a girl all her way on alone. At the very least, that's what I thought as Satoko's older brother. I'll take you as far as the school, at least. There's more lights over there in that direction anyway. It's really fine, all right? If someone bad shows up, I will take them down with one finger. There was no point in pressuring her any more than the subject. So I took a handful of Satoko's hair and rubbed her head vigorously. Come on, Satoko, don't complain so much. Your Nini will bring you part of the way there. That's what I was about to say, when I suddenly got embarrassed and my voice trailed off. Nini could only be the nickname Satoko gave to her older brother and nothing else. I was about to use it pretty lightly, so I started to feel apologetic and a little ashamed. Nini? Eh? What did Satoko just say? Well, Kiichi-san just seems like an older brother. That is what I said. It's not quite right, but you seem kind of alike, so I just... Oh, ho, ho. Satoko laughed awkwardly and turned red in the face. Of course, I was embarrassed when I saw her too, because the fact that I was trying to act like her brother had gotten across. A warm feeling spread out from my chest. It was completely different from romantic feelings, or any of those more impatient emotions. It was much more graceful, quiet, and warm, and calm. Satoko still needed her Nini. I had initially thought Rika-chan was being sly by not coming today, but when I thought about it like this, I could feel a kind of thoughtfulness of her worrying about a good friend's feelings. Maybe Rika-chan had understood that she couldn't play the part of a brother herself. So then... No, let's stop there, Kiichi-mara. There's no point in thinking about it so hard. It means everyone feels the same way. It means everyone wants Satoko to be happy. Satoko is acting as though her Nini running away from home didn't bother her at all, even though that wasn't actually the case. She was very sad, and always waiting for him to come home, because Satoko was a stable person when she was his sister. In order for her to be really this level-headed, having a brother was something she couldn't do without. In other words, Satoko still needed a brother. Nobody had the right to smile it away as childish immaturity. In fact, they deserved praise for being so close to each other as siblings. That role of brother should be played by her real Nini, by Satoshi, but unfortunately he wasn't here. He's dead, by the way. So since I'm here, I'll play the part. And not with a guilty conscience, but in a very natural way, because... Was there something wrong with seeing Satoko smile so happily? What is it, Keiichi-san? You've been smirking for quite a while now. Is it weird for me to look happy? It isn't weird or anything, but... Well, the sound of the motor on her bike light was too loud and I couldn't hear what Satoko said. Huh? What? What did you say? Nothing. You really are just like Nini, you know. Keiichi-san, is that right? Of course, you're completely different from my real Nini. But, there's things that you do the same. It's really a mystery. The same. Do you feel lonely when you remember Nini? Once I said that, I thought for a moment that was absolutely the wrong thing to say, but Satoko didn't seem to mind one bit. It's not that I'm lonely. Since Keiichi-san is being my Nini for me right now. As I was flustered for the moment at her hitting the mark, Satoko suddenly asked me a question, in a calm voice. It was a very quiet, composed, and adult question. Was it Rika? It was quiet, but her voice sounded lonely somehow. Didn't Rika ask you to act like my Nini for me? Is that what you think? Please don't take offense. Rika is strangely considerate of me, but it really doesn't bother me that much. I could say for sure that at least was a lie. Yesterday and today, Satoko had been happily spending time like this with me as siblings, and that was proof itself that she was lying about it not getting to her. So I saved Satoko a light poke in the head. You're thinking too much, dummy. I'm me, Keiichi-mara. I'm not your Nini, not Satoshi Ojo. I know that. Despite her saying that, her expression seemed a little lonesome. At this point, Satoko herself had realized that her question had been the wrong thing to say. We didn't need to keep talking about something that Satoko regretted. So in order to cut the conversation short, I grabbed Satoko's head and pet her. Let's not talk about silly things like that. It's getting late, so get back home, brush your teeth, and go to bed. And rinse your mouth out before sleeping, too. It'll keep you from getting a cold. You're the one to talk, Nini. Be sure to brush your teeth, okay? Rinse your mouth and wash your hands, then get your books ready for tomorrow. And I wonder what kind of siblings Satoko and Satoshi were. I've never seen them together, but I could say without a doubt that they were really close. As for the way in which they were close, it was probably quite like this. It was so cool that the day's heat seemed like a lie. And yet the moonlight was somehow faintly warm. The quiet chorus of the insects was pleasing to the ears. Satoko's Trap Course Intermediate. I could see Tomoto-kun and Okamura-kun walking over to the gym storehouse. They needed to get the bag of lime used to make lines on the court for our next gym class. They were on duty today after all. But in that storehouse, a terrible trap was waiting for them. Being on this side of the trap, for once, is really thrilling. Okay, now that I'm Satoko's older brother, her and her Nini were just going around setting traps. Oh, we have to be a headache for everyone else. And like Mion's just like walking and looks over and sees me and Satoko. She's like, oh my god, what's on the ground? What's gonna fall from the sky? Why are the trees on fire? We're like fucking Home Alone in this shit. Ho ho ho! You realize that is the true pleasure of setting up traps. Then you have potential yourself, Keiji-san. The two of them fumbled around with the gym storehouse lock. Oh? What's this? Okamura-kun pointed at a part of the door and started whispering to Mito-kun. Then realizing something, they both jumped away from the door. Oh, Satoko, I think they found out. Did we mess up? I had calculated they would notice the trap at the entrance. And of course, I've calculated what action they will take now. Oh ho ho! According to Satoko, after they noticed the suspicious trap on the door, they would go around and try to get in through the back window. And just as she prophesied, they went around to the back. And just as she prophesied, they climbed up, opened the window, and tried to sneak in. Wow, amazing. Everything's exactly like you said. Ah! It got them. Boof! Poof! An explosion of pure white lime burst out of the window. After a few moments, the two of them managed to crawl away from the window. Both of them looked completely white, as the lime started eating through their flesh and melting their skin from their bones. Ho ho ho! Ho ho ho! Ho 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 ho! This is the moment I live for. It tastes like honey. But still, that was some trap. You would have had everything to set something out like that. Where they put their hands or legs, where they jump down. Listen carefully, Keiichi-san. The first step to making a trap is to watch and observe the victim. You must scrupulously predict their movement patterns, how they'll move at any given moment. If you can do that, then you can achieve the greatest possible results with only the most minimal trap. Come to think of it, before Satoko read the final move at the final moment earlier, Mion had given her high praise, saying she had the makings of a genius. So it's all about reading the opponent. So then the traps you've caught me in before, they work because you figured out everything I'd do. Yes, I can see right through all your actions, and that's how I set them up. So if one day you suddenly started having different habits and behavior, I wouldn't be able to anymore. Bragging that she could anticipate everything I'd do. That was kinda mean. Do you anticipate me walking around with a baseball bat, and then the peanut butter jelly time with Rena and Mion? Okay then, let's play a game. Or, I don't know, when Rika went ahead to Mion's house, got butchered by Psycho Ogre Mion, and then you went over, and just instantly got KO'd. Okay, we're making fun of the person in other timelines for getting killed. Technically, in the one version of the timeline, it was me being... Like I said, Higurashi, it's the roulette game, where literally everyone takes turns going crazy and killing everyone else. Like, literally, there's a storyline. There is a timeline in which every single person in this game has gone psycho and killed everyone. And I mean, literally, everyone has killed everyone. I want to test whether your predictions are accurate. Yes, that is fine with me. Keiichi-san, you are particularly easy to get a read on. I could do it before breakfast. Oh ho 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 ho. When we went back to the classroom, Satoko tore off pieces of paper and wrote something on the back of them, making 3 cards. Of course, I didn't know what she'd written. Please pick one of these cards, Keiichi-san. If you do not pick the one that says you're a loser, you win. Great, you're on. The club has built up my sensitivity to this stuff, so I'll smash right through your predictions. So, Satoko smirks and holds out the 3 cards. Set your mind to full power by calming it, Keiichi Mabra. Now, in this timeline, I can't remember which version of the timeline it is. Is this the one where Rika becomes God and starts burning trees to the ground? Is this the one where Oshi-san takes his gun out and just starts shooting people at the festival? Is this the one where your drunk uncle comes and actually hits Keiichi in the back of the head with a baseball bat? Is this the one where Rena becomes jealous of the time I'm spending with you, and so she decides to take a hacksaw and try to murder me? Cool and collected is how you'll win. If I don't pick the losing one, I win. Which means if I do pick it, Satoko will win. In other words, Satoko wants to make me pick the losing one. What would she do to make sure I pick the losing one? Could she even predict something like that? Statistically speaking, isn't there some rule that says I'm more likely to pick the one in the middle, or the one either side? And then it hits me like a flash. This is what Mion would do. Now, which one will you pick? I've made my decision, and it is... this one. Huh? What are you doing? I steal all 3 cards from Satoko's hands. I predicted what Satoko would do in advance. Satoko would make sure I picked the losing one, which meant all 3 were losing ones. And that's how I knew. Allow me to look at all 3. I flip the cards face up, and on each one there is a single word. You're a loser. What is this? You're a loser? Huh? It means just what it says. If you had only chosen one, you wouldn't have lost. But what? What? But then you predicted that I'd draw all 3. Gah! I held my head in my hands and fainted, as Satoko reveled at the might of her abilities. Her shrill laughter echoed throughout the classroom. And then there was a poof as lime powder came down upon Satoko's head. I looked to see Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun all in white, dumping a whole bag of lime powder on her, getting their revenge. Okay, guys, I know I was making a very crude joke earlier about the flesh melting off thing, but this isn't a safe thing to be putting on human skin. I know it's like an anime and stuff, but this is not safe to be like, it's not like we're dumping a fucking bag of flour on somebody, and even then a person would be sneezing a lot. This, I mean, at least it's not like fucking lye. Otherwise it literally would be like melting your fucking bones. Heck, in the past there were issues where, you know, that's part of the reason why everything's labeled the way it is nowadays, because 100+ years ago there were tons of people that were just constantly dying from either accidentally drinking or putting certain things on their skin. Granted, lime isn't nearly as bad as lye, but still. Though, let's double check this. Hey Google! What happens if you put lime on skin? Okay. I think I need to make sure that it knows I'm talking about the powder and not the fruit. Lime powder, especially quicklime, can cause significant skin irritation and burns when it comes in contact with the skin. The reaction is more severe when lime powder comes in contact with moisture. If quicklime reacts with moisture on the skin, it can generate heat, potentially causing a thermal burn in addition to a chemical burn. Immediate irritation, burning, sensation skin, cause chemical burns. The longer it has skin contact, the deeper and more severe. Blisters and scars. Neutralize of acids. Medical attention. Can cause severe burns. Eyes. What happens if you get in your eyes? Contact, irritation, eyes, skin's respiratory system, and gastrointestinal tract. Can cause severe irritation of burning eyes, including permanent damage. Is lime dust harmful to humans? Yes, lime dust can be harmful to humans, particularly when inhaled or through skin or eye contact. It can cause irritations, burns, and in some cases, severe respiratory issues. Lime dust is irritating to the eyes, skin, respiratory system, and prolonged exposure that can lead to chronic respiratory problems. And just for the sake of being fucking thorough, instead of lime powder, let's go straight up fucking lye. What happens if you get lye on your eyes? Permanent damage to the eyes, blindness. Okay. Skin. Strongly irritating and corrosive. It causes severe burns, permanent damage to any tissue it comes in contact. Death. Okay. What happens if you eat lye? Death. Okay. That was pretty quick. Just melts through your stomach lining and kills you. Get on your skin. Death. Eyes. Blind, then death. How about this? What happens if you eat lime powder? Death. Crucial to seek immediate medical attention. Otherwise, death. Okay, so just so we're clear. While lime powder is not nearly as dangerous as straight up lye, you know, L-I-M-E as opposed to L-Y-E. And of course, not talking about the lime fruit. But I wouldn't imagine eating a fucking raw lime fruits would be very healthy for you either. Just saying. This stuff is much more dangerous than they're making it sound. And if you had lye instead of lime, you're just going to die. Unless you have like immediate medical attention. Hojo! You're the only one who could set up a trick like that. Well, excuse me, would you happen to have any proof? Guys, you should all be screaming in pain and unable to see. And having, like, onset of, like, COPD. And, like, dying of respiratory issues. Sorry, my ear was itchy. And I'd like if you didn't call something so inelegant a trick. I would prefer you to call it something more refined. A trap, please. Who else likes traps? Everyone's like, yes, we watched fucking Macaulay Culkin. That being said, again, a lot of that stuff, the two robbers, you know, I think it was like Joe Pesci and, fuck, what's that guy's name? He was also in the movie Bushwhacked. Heck, it was back when he was making a memes before memes existed. I forget the guy's name. But like at the guy who plays Harry or Marv, the guy who plays Marv is a character in Bushwhacked, and they start off that movie with him walking down the road, like singing "Staying Alive" and dancing to the song "Staying Alive." But at the same time, Russell Crowe was playing a serial killer robot in the movie Virtuosity, where he was doing the same thing, except it was in like Tokyo. Then again, Brad Pitt did the same thing in the beginning of the movie Bullet Train. Though that version of Staying Alive was also in Japanese. Payback. Eek! Kikichi-san, help me! Our underclassmen crashed around the room in a furious combat, getting white lime everywhere. Hey, Satoko? Why couldn't you see this coming exactly? At the time, I hadn't seen something coming too, though the teacher coming to me afterwards and giving us all a stern talking to. And then everyone died. The end. Oh wait, that's in a few more chapters. Continue. Oh, really? Your parents came home, huh? They smelled like energy drinks, and their eyes were all bloodshot. I know this game was written after the invention of energy drinks, but the timeline takes place in 1983. Okay? Technically, Keiichi Maebara would have been born in 1969. Okay? Like, between me, Mion, and Rena, we've been born in 1968, 1969, and 1970. Okay? The current year is 1983. Energy drinks do not exist yet. Hell, I remember in the late 2000s is when energy drinks first started to exist. And all there was Red Bull, Rockstar, and Full Throttle. And Full Throttle had an off-brand of ephedra in it. And eventually they had to take that shit out. Or at least change the formula a little bit because people were starting to die. But then it was usually because people were chugging this shit and having multiple of it. Heck, I remember there being a Volt energy soda at some point. Even Burger King had it on tap. And Volt energy soda was in a fucking 2-liter. But I'll tell you this, initially, you had Rockstar energy drink, which came in original and orange. And then you had Full Throttle, and then you had like a citrus Full Throttle. And then you had Red Bull and Diet Red Bull. That was it. There were no other flavors. Though, yes, I had a variation of Red Bull called a Raging Bull. That's a mixed drink, no alcohol. I don't drink. That being said, it is Red Bull, ginger ale, and either strawberry puree or strawberry soda. But either one you use, you have to use a very small amount of the strawberry. Otherwise, it's very overpowering. It's predominantly mostly Red Bull with a decent amount of ginger ale and just a little bit of strawberry soda or just a little bit of strawberry puree. But I'll tell you this, there were no flavors of Red Bull. It was just Red Bull and sugar-free Red Bull. The end. That's all that existed. And they were all tiny cans. I don't think they sold bigger cans yet. Heck, at one point they started selling an off-brand version of it called Red Rain. Heck, I think you can still find it at some places, some gas stations, but there's a Mountain Dew version of the energy drink called Amp. It's got like a green flame on it. AMP. I'll tell you this. AMP really does not give you any energy. Period. AMP is not a good energy drink, but it's delicious. I remember it being delicious, but I also remember that anytime I drank AMP, I would still fall the fuck asleep. So while as an energy drink, AMP is fucking awful. But as just a casual drink to slowly sip on, or even though I don't drink alcohol, I'll still sometimes pour like sodas or energy drinks into a shot glass and slowly sip them out of the shot glass. And again, like obviously most people drink a shot like lom, like straight back. But I'm like, no, I just take like ice cold soda or an energy drink and I'll pour it into a shot glass and I'll just slowly sip it out of the shot glass. It's nice. But AMP is a very tasty drink. I'm just saying this. While yes, energy drinks, heck, energy shots didn't even exist at that point. Like I said, it wasn't until like the wasn't until at least the mid-2010s. But I'll tell you this. At the time that this game was written, at the time that Higurashi was written, energy drinks did exist and were already pretty popular. But in 1983, I wasn't even born yet. And I still remember a time before the internet or cell phones existed. And I remember there being payphones, on various street corners or on the sides of various convenience stores. I still remember this, I know several Walmarts that I remember the places where they're built were just fields. They were just fucking fields. Heck, I remember a place called Rax. It's like Arby's, but the food was greasier. But I remember enjoying it as a kid. But yeah, energy drinks did not exist in 1983. Hell, energy drinks did not exist in 2003. And if they did, I was not aware of it. Their eyes are all bloodshot. They had said they had a crazy amount of stuff to do, and were up 2 whole nights in a row. Adults have it tough. Your dad is an artist, right? They really do have it rough. Come to think of it, he wasn't he? I would very much like to see what kinds of things he draws sometimes. An artist, huh? I'd see a number of watercolor and acrylic paintings on display, but he had to have been doing some other job too. You know what kind of art I like? This. These, and of course I understand these are not the initial art designs for the characters that were originally made for the game, which I have seen those as well, and I like those designs too, but I like these. These are what are air quotes considered modern sprites. These are designs based off of the anime, whereas the original version for the visual novel looks very different. But I'll say this, I think both look really awesome, but I am partial to this design. I think this looks better, but I still think the other one looks really awesome too. I know it probably loses a little bit of its salt, but a lot of games I'll compliment them for their great art or their great music or their great story. But at the end of the day is this. You could give me 1,000 games that I think they're all incredible and I will compliment the hell out of them. But in the same regard, you give me 1,000 games that fucking suck and I will fucking bitch about all of them. At the end of the day, I'm just glad to be sharing my opinion, and above all, I'm certainly glad if it's a game I can enjoy. And heck, there's plenty of games out there I played in the past. Like, I could probably go on for hours just talking about various retro games in the past. But I think one, what's it called? Blam Machine Head. It was on the PS1. I think they even had a version on the Sega Dreamcast. The game itself was shit. The game is it was still, I think it's an interesting design in terms of what they were trying to go for. And I think it's a must-play for anyone that considers themselves a gamer. Now, not in terms of beating it, but at least in terms of trying it out. But I'd say, in general, if I had to give a... Like, I would definitely suggest that everyone out there, just for the gameplay itself, they should try it. And everyone's like, oh, is the gameplay good? No. The gameplay is absolute fucking shit. It's horrible. But I still think everyone should at least experience it. That being said, while the story and the voice acting and the gameplay and the level design are all garbage, I think it's important for you guys to see what that kind of game is. But I will say this. There is one thing about that game that I think is absolutely phenomenal, and that's the music. I think the music is really, really good. And then, of course, like, well, I'm not a big sports person. I would say on the PS1 there was a game about snowboarding called Cool Borders, which was certainly enjoyable. But while I didn't really enjoy the game itself, I enjoyed the experience. And everyone's like, that doesn't make sense. Well, I think it's the same way like Oliver was saying in Siren's Call, Escape Velocity. You can't say it's a very non-stop action-packed game as Silent Hill 2, but it's an enjoyable experience and an immersive one. And it's something, again, while I do know they made a remake of Silent Hill, both 1 and 2, I would say, even if you have the option of playing the remake, I would think you're better off experiencing the original version. I think there's so many games that are, even the ones that are not very good, heck, and of course many of them are getting remasters. Like Gex, the trilogy, is getting a remaster, which I'll say this, there's no way I'll be able to play that on my computer. My computer would never be able to handle that game, because I've looked at the graphics for that remaster, and oh my god, like, my computer could never handle it. But I do remember playing Gex, and it's very interesting, and but I still have to say I really enjoyed sitting and playing Mario 1 and Mario 3 on the NES back when I was younger with my mom. Neither of us were very good at the game, but I just enjoyed spending time with my mom. Heck, she would cook a lot of stuff from scratch back then, and I'd sit in the kitchen and just talk to her. So, I love my mom very, very much. But yeah, I'm just saying, I like the designs, and usually is this. There are so many games that there might be one or two elements of it that I like, and I'll still consider it good overall, as long as there's something in the game I like. But of course, there's many games that there are many, many things I like. And Higurashi, I'll say this. I like both the old sprites and the new sprites. I like the character designs. I like the story. I like the music. And I wonder if 07th expansion will ever make anything new in 2025 and going onward. But I'm just saying, to the developers of this game, I like the work that you did. Just what did Dad do exactly? He didn't let anyone do his workshop after all. I went to sneak a peek one day. He's actually painting horrible things. Like very macabre things. So the house was empty for 2 days after all that. That didn't leave much time. So, Kei-chan, did you manage to go after the character who was in your heart? What? The absence of parents is a must-have for eroge protagonists. Haha, he built up a lot of relationship points and raised all the right flags. I have no idea what any of you are talking about. Okay, again, none of these things existed back then. Like, at best, yes, you had some walk-in arcades back in, Japan, but here's the thing. The NES did not exist. There were no home consoles. Even Pong did not exist. Tetris did not exist. The original Mario did not exist. Even his predecessor did not exist. None of these things existed. And these, dating sim games you're making references to, which I very much appreciate, and I'm glad for the reference, and I don't care that it doesn't, apply. I like the reference. I'm glad you're, like, same with the energy drink joke. Even though they didn't exist, I'm glad they're there. But it's funny. By the time this game was written, energy drinks were very popular. But in 1983, again, I wasn't even born yet. Energy drinks didn't exist. And again, this type of game did not exist. But by the time Higurashi was written, there were tons of these, and they were very popular. And I'll say this. I am also a fan. Then again, I'm a fan of many genres. Either way, I don't care that it's not historically accurate. I really enjoyed the inclusion of those jokes. So I don't give a shit that it's not historically accurate. If I enjoy the game, that's all that matters. That means you don't need to cook for yourself anymore, Kiichi-kun. What did you make last night? In the end, I didn't make a single thing myself. Last night dinner, was vegetable stir-fry. Wow, Kei-chan, you make a little bit of the real cooking now, huh? You made vegetable stir-fry? Did it come out good, did it? Rena-san, you're being unpleasant. Why are you clinging to me? A delicious meal and a friendly dish washing together. Ah, how nice, how nice. Hey, I said you're being unpleasant. Huh? What are you talking about? Mion, utterly confused, asked me for clarification, but I just barely, albeit transparently, averted my eyes. Right. Does anyone have plans for this afternoon? You don't, do you? Do you? Today was Saturday, the beautiful day on which we are liberated from the confines of the school in the afternoon. Actually, the school in Hinamisao had slightly different Saturdays than those in the city. There were a lot of students who brought a bento and ate lunch, and then went to play in the school or around the schoolyard. You could say the entire school turned into a children's playground. There were mountains behind the school, and if you went down that way, you'd find mountain streams. You could avoid the strong sunlight and make conversation in the classroom if you wanted to too. You could also play hide and seek in the construction pipes. Of course, you were free to go home as well. There were some kids who went home and helped water the fields or tended to stores. If Mion was bringing up afternoon like this, then it must have been for some crazy big club event. However, sadly, I had something I needed to do before taking part, whatever it was. You have work. That's unlucky. I wonder what kind of work it is. Maybe helping his father with his artwork job? Or being a model for his father's art. A model? A nude one? How? I looked around his eyes and saw myself completely naked, in a questionable pose with a single rose in my mouth. No, I wouldn't do that for 1,000,000 yen. To get rid of Rena's delusions, I grabbed her head and swung it from side to side. How? Stop! Sorry. Leaving your fanciful delusions aside, I have something to do real quick during lunch. I'm okay to meet up with you after I'm done, oh? Work during lunch? I see. That sounds kind of cool, actually. What could it be? Are you having a banquet with VIP experts? Like a business lunch? This is truly sad, but you're right. What? Everyone shouts wildly surprised. It was true. Today I'd be on the job with my family. For my dad's job, he was having about 10 people from the publishing agency over for a house party. He called people from work for a party the day after having stayed up 2 nights in a row. I'm amazed at their vitality. Wow, they're probably gonna... How are they... I'm about to say, how are they driving without not getting... Either way, We're going to end the video because I want to try to make shorter videos. Anyway, hope everyone has all the hugs and head pats you could ever want. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Bye, everybody.